No one expected her to speak, not after all this time, not after everything that's been written and whispered behind closed doors. For years, Can Yaman's mother, Yaman, stayed completely silent. She watched as her son became one of the most talked about stars in Europe, adored, envied, and sometimes attacked. But when Sara Bluma's name began echoing through every corner of the media, when the rumors turned cruel and the headlines became unbearable, that silence broke. And the world listened. It started quietly, a few words during a private gathering in Istanbul, caught by a journalist who couldn't believe what he had heard. "I have kept quiet for too long," she said softly. "But as a mother, there comes a point when you can't stay silent anymore." Those words spread like wildfire across social media. Fans who had been following Can and Sara's complicated story were stunned. For months, the internet had been filled with speculation. Was Sara truly the woman who changed Can's life? Were they still in contact? And why had he seemed so distant and guarded in recent interviews? To understand the weight of her words, we need to go back. Back to the moment when Sara Bluma entered Can Yaman's world. She wasn't a Turkish actress or a television co-star, she was different. A European influencer, reserved yet magnetic, who met Can during one of his brand events in Rome. Their connection was instant, but fragile. Can was still trying to rebuild his image after a turbulent period marked by press attacks, relationship rumors, and constant pressure. Sara appeared at a time when he needed peace, not noise. At first, they kept their story hidden. Few knew they were meeting in secret cafes in Rome, walking through backstreets late at night, far away from cameras. Friends say Can smiled differently during those days, quietly, genuinely. But peace rarely lasts long in the world of fame. Once a single photo of them together leaked online, everything changed. The tabloids exploded with stories. Can Yaman's new love, who is Sara Bluma, the woman behind Can's transformation. The attention was too much. Sara, unused to the spotlight, withdrew from public appearances. Can, protective and proud, tried to shield her, but it only made people dig deeper. Then came the cruelest part, the comparisons. Fans divided themselves between those who saw Sara as a distraction and those who believed she had brought stability into Can's life. Through it all, his mother said nothing. She remained silent, watching her son struggle to balance love and career under the harshest spotlight imaginable. Until now. Because when Yaman finally decided to speak, she didn't defend, deny, or gossip, she revealed something much deeper. Something that forced even the harshest critics to pause. She spoke not as a celebrity's mother, but as a woman who had watched her son carry the weight of fame and heartbreak. And her words hinted that what we all thought we knew about Sara Bluma might not be the full truth. The next day, Turkish and Italian media exploded. Headlines everywhere screamed, "Can Yaman's mother speaks for the first time," and hidden truth about Sara Bluma revealed. But no one had the full picture yet. What exactly did she say, and why now? It turned out, Yaman's words came from a deep, emotional place. She didn't grant an interview or appear on television. Instead, she spoke to someone close, a family friend who later confirmed her statements to a journalist. Her voice, they said, was calm but firm. Sara was not the problem, she confessed. People only saw what they wanted to see. But I saw a young woman who truly cared for my son. Those words alone changed the narrative. For months, Sara had been portrayed as the cold European who broke Can's heart and disappeared when fame got complicated. But now, from a mother's perspective, a different story emerged, one filled with affection, pain, and misunderstanding. Described Sara as sincere but overwhelmed. She said, "Fame can destroy gentle souls." And Sara was not prepared for the storm that comes with loving someone like Can. To anyone who knows the entertainment world, those words hit hard. Because behind every glamorous photo, behind every interview smile, there's a reality few can handle, the invasiveness, the endless questions, the way even silence becomes a headline. And Sara, who had no experience dealing with such chaos, found herself at the center of a global obsession. Reports from that time describe how Can tried to protect her, canceling appearances, limiting his social media posts, avoiding public places. Yet, the more he tried to guard their privacy, the more curious the public became. Fans dissected every post, every like, every word. When Sara finally deleted her Instagram account, people assumed it was over. But Goldum's revelation suggested otherwise. They didn't break because they stopped loving each other, she said. They broke because too many eyes were watching. It was an insight that stunned fans. Because for years, the story had been told differently. Tabloids claimed Sara left him suddenly, that she couldn't handle his fame, that she was jealous of his connection to Demet Özdemir. But now, Can's mother had offered a rare glimpse of humanity in a world dominated by rumor. She revealed how her son would come home exhausted, unable to sleep, torn between duty to his fans and his longing for a quiet life. And then came the sentence that broke millions of hearts. He told me once, "Mom, I wish I could just be Can, not Can Yaman." Those who read those words couldn't forget them. They echoed across fan pages, trending hashtags, and late-night talk shows. Suddenly, the story wasn't about fame or scandal anymore. It was about a man trapped by his own success, and a woman who couldn't survive the noise around him. But that wasn't all his mother said. There was more, something she hesitated to share but eventually let slip, a detail that changed everything fans thought they knew about Sara Bluma's disappearance from the spotlight. When Can Yaman finally revealed the truth, her voice reportedly trembled. It wasn't anger or resentment that filled her tone, it was sorrow. "Sara didn't leave because she stopped loving my son," she said quietly. "She left because she was protecting him." Those words fell like thunder. Protecting him? From what? People didn't understand at first. But soon, details began to surface, small fragments that painted a much larger, more heartbreaking picture. Months before their rumored breakup, Sara had begun receiving threatening messages online. Some fans, blinded by obsession and jealousy, targeted her relentlessly. Anonymous accounts accused her of ruining Can's image, calling her fake, opportunistic, even dangerous. Others went further, sending her personal photos, tracking her movements in Rome, and even waiting outside her apartment. Can tried to stop it. He sent warnings through his management, demanded privacy, and asked his fans to respect personal boundaries. But in the age of viral fame, control is an illusion. Every attempt to protect Sara only made people more curious. Every defense he made was twisted into new rumors: Can's secret marriage, Sara's betrayal, Demet's revenge. The cycle never stopped. Goldum said she saw it all. The fear in Sara's eyes, the exhaustion in her son's face. One night, she recalled, "Sara called me crying. She said, 'I love him, but I can't breathe anymore.' That was the moment everything changed." Sara had decided to walk away, not because she wanted to, but because she believed that leaving was the only way to save Can from more scandal, from more pain. Goldum remembered that call vividly. She said she didn't want to be the reason people attacked him. She wanted him to shine without her shadow. And when she hung up that night, no one knew it would be the last time they spoke. The next morning, Sara deleted her social media accounts, turned off her phone, and disappeared from the public eye. Can, who had been preparing for a major project in Italy, reportedly found out hours later. Friends say he locked himself in his hotel room for days, refusing to speak to anyone. He felt betrayed at first, until his mother showed him the messages Sara had received. He didn't cry often, Goldum said, but that day, he did. From that moment on, the world saw a different Can Yaman, colder, quieter, more distant. He threw himself into work, filming long hours, attending red carpets with a forced smile. Fans noticed the change but couldn't understand it. And yet, behind that polished image was a man still haunted by the voice of the woman who had once said, "I can't breathe anymore." As for Goldum, she said nothing publicly for years. She watched her son endure speculation, loneliness, and the constant comparison to every woman he met after Sara. But when new rumors emerged, ones that painted Sara as the villain, she couldn't stand by any longer. It wasn't fair, she said. People destroyed her name without knowing the truth. My son suffered in silence, and so did she. And that's why she finally broke her silence. Not for fame, not for attention, but to clear the name of the woman who, in her words, loved Can more purely than anyone else ever did. After her words spread, everything changed again, for Can, for Sara, and even for Goldum herself. Suddenly, the story wasn't just gossip anymore, it became something raw, human, and painfully real. For the first time, fans saw behind the curtain of fame, where love and fear constantly collide. Journalists rushed to contact Sara Bluma, hoping for a reaction. Would she finally speak after all these years of silence? For days, there was nothing. No statements, no posts, no photos. Then, a quiet move caught everyone's attention. Sara reactivated her old Instagram account. There were no new pictures, no captions, just a single photo from years ago, a blurred sunset over Rome. Beneath it, one simple caption, "Some memories never fade." Within minutes, the internet went wild. Fans flooded the comments section, writing messages like "We remember, you never have to explain, and the truth always finds its way." It was as if Goldum's words had opened a door that had been locked for too long. People who once attacked Sara now apologized. Even Can's fan communities, notoriously protective, began to see her differently. Meanwhile, Can himself stayed silent. No interviews, no comments. But insiders close to him revealed that he had spoken privately with his mother the day after her words became public. According to one source, Can simply said, "Maybe it was time, Mom." Those 5 words carried the weight of everything he had buried for years. That same evening, Can was seen leaving his home in Rome alone. Photographers captured him walking through Trastevere, wearing a simple black jacket, his face half hidden by a cap. But one thing caught everyone's eye: he was holding his phone tightly, and at one point, stopped near a quiet corner cafe, looking at the screen for several seconds before putting it away. Some believe he had just seen Sara's post. Others say he might have been about to call her, but didn't. Back in Istanbul, Goldum avoided interviews. She didn't want to fuel more rumors. When asked if she regretted speaking, she smiled faintly and said, "No. Truth should never be a secret, especially when it comes from the heart." But there was one part of her statement that hadn't been shared publicly, one last line that only the journalist who recorded her words had heard: "If fate ever brings them face to face again, I hope the world will stay quiet long enough for them to speak." That line was published days later, and it instantly went viral. Fans from Italy to Spain, from Turkey to Argentina, began sharing clips of Can and Sara from the past, smiling at events, looking at each other with that unmistakable spark. Hashtags like #LetThemSpeak and #CanAndSaraTruth trended for hours. Even entertainment shows that once mocked their relationship began to change tone. Commentators said, "Maybe we all misjudged her," while others added, "Maybe the real love story was the one we never saw." But amid all this noise, one question remained unanswered: did Can and Sara ever speak again after that night she disappeared? Goldum's silence after her confession made everyone wonder, did she know more than she was saying? In the weeks that followed, silence once again wrapped around their story, but this time, it wasn't the cold silence of denial. It was something heavier, something that hinted at emotions too deep to be put into words. While tabloids kept recycling old photos and wild theories, those who truly knew Can Yaman said something in him had shifted. He wasn't trying to hide anymore. He stopped pretending that the past didn't hurt, stopped masking that deep sadness in his eyes. During one of his latest interviews for an Italian magazine, he was asked, almost innocently, "Do you still believe in love?" Can paused. He smiled faintly and said, "Love is not about being seen together. It's about what remains when no one is watching." The journalist noted that his tone changed right after that question. He looked away, his hands tightened slightly, and for a brief moment, the confident, charming actor the world adored looked like a man remembering something, or someone, who still lived quietly inside his heart. Those who heard the interview immediately connected the dots. Fans began reposting clips, adding comments like "he was talking about Sara," and "you can still see it in his eyes." Others tagged his mother, thanking her for bringing clarity, for showing the world that behind the gossip was a love that was genuine, fragile, and ultimately human. Meanwhile, in Rome, someone noticed a familiar face walking through Piazza Navona one afternoon. It was Sara Bluma. Dressed simply, carrying a small camera, she was seen taking pictures of the fountains, alone. When asked by a passerby if she'd ever speak publicly about the past, she reportedly smiled and said, "Some stories don't need to be told again. They just need to be understood." That quote spread everywhere. For many, it felt like closure, for others, the beginning of something new. Because what neither Can nor Sara ever confirmed, but what everyone sensed, was that their bond had never truly disappeared. It had simply transformed, from love into quiet respect, from passion into peace. As for Gulden Yaman, she has not spoken again since that day. Friends say she feels relieved, as if a burden has been lifted. "She just wanted the truth out," one of them said. "She didn't do it for headlines, she did it for healing." And perhaps, in a world where silence often hides the most painful truths, her courage was the very thing her son needed. One evening, weeks later, Kim posted something unexpected on Instagram. It wasn't a photo of a film set or a gym workout. It was a single picture, a blurry shot of the same Roman sunset Sara had once shared. The caption read simply, "Some memories never fade, they just learn to live quietly." The world went silent. Fans cried. Comments flooded in. Some said it was coincidence. Others said it was his way of saying goodbye. But those who knew his story, who had followed every moment, every tear, every word from his mother, knew exactly what it meant. It wasn't a goodbye. It was a promise. A promise that even if time changes everything, fame, love, people, some connections survive, quietly, endlessly, like a sunset over Rome. And maybe, just maybe, that's why his mother finally spoke. Because the world needed to remember, behind every star there's a heart, and behind every silence, there's a truth that refuses to die. The end.